if you did simply watch the limited snaps we saw of Caleb Williams, you would get very excited. You would be like, oh, he might be amazing.
Yeah. And this is where it's not necessarily about the stats or the production or even the PFF grade necessarily in the preseason, right? Again, those are the grades are really good when it comes to regular season and projecting going forward. But for right now, I'm looking at skill set. I'm looking for feel. I mentioned the word comfort a lot for rookie quarterbacks. You just want to see what these guys are capable of. And I remember the 2021 class, my instant reaction on Justin Fields was like, oh, he's fast. Like he's fast at the NFL level. There are little things like that, I think, that show up early. Does the arm play? Does the athleticism play? Do those things play on an NFL field? Those are some of the things I'm looking for early on here.
Yeah, so, I mean, I think you're kind of reminded how good he is on the move. Like, the reason he gets Rodgers and Mahomes comps is because he's able to make those throws, the throws that Mahomes can make, that somehow the ball makes it to the place where it doesn't for other people. You know, when he throws like off platform, running to his left, back across his body, one of the reasons most other quarterbacks don't even attempt that throw, they simply can't get it there, right? It looks open, and it might be open, but the angle you need to try and launch the ball at, you simply can't get the velocity to get it back there before a linebacker or a DB from somewhere else can get in front and take it away. Mahomes has the arm to be able to do that. And Caleb Williams does as well. Like, his ability not just to be accurate on the move, but to actually maintain velocity and get the ball where he's trying to get it to on the move is ridiculous. That was his, best trait, I guess, in college. And even just in a couple of throws, you could see that still plays. Number two, the improvisational ability to just do weird things still plays. I mean, the highlight reel, I guess, that would be the first play that someone sees from him was that just yoink, pocket collapsing around him, running backs over there. I'm not even going to look at it. Just chuck it. Just get rid of it. Offload it effectively in a collapsing pocket as if it was rugby, gets it to the running back. It just looks awesome. So that stuff obviously still plays, I think we're seeing. The thing I was most impressed by, though, was how quick his processing and reads were. Like, if you go and watch the all-22, like the end zone view, look at his eyes, you can see a number of plays in there. And you didn't play that much, but there were multiple plays where you see read, ball out, right? Like, really quick processing. That's the important thing for Caleb Williams, because that was the unknown part of his game. Can he do that and get rid of the ball within rhythm, stay within the structure of the offense, and just get it out, even if he has to work through, a full field read and do it that way? Or is he always going to default to the hero ball, to escaping, to trying to make the magic happen? At least in this limited outing, we saw a glimpse that he can do that and be really good.
I'm gonna nitpick that last one, though. I agree with so much of what you said. I'm gonna nitpick the last one. Look, there's only 10 dropbacks,
right?
So these things are all tiny sample sizes. There were a couple plays, though. I think he could have worked a little bit quicker. His very first play from scrimmage, he did bail from a clean pocket. Now, I don't think there was much there,
right? But
he bails from a clean pocket. He does it out the back. I also wanted to highlight go check out JT's video, QB School. JT was highlighting, I don't know if you saw this, as he was running, he's scrambling to the right, and JT was mentioning how Mahomes and some guys who are special when they leave the pocket will peek just to make sure they're not going to get strip sacked. Mm-hmm. Williams did that, but he also extended the ball. So he's scrambling right and extending the ball in front to just like really make sure that there's no backside strip sack. But when you bail from clean pockets, it puts pressure on your offensive line. They lose leverage. They're more likely to hold. And Darnell Wright did get called for a hold.
Right.
So that is one of those, hey, the O-line's got to do a better job of also understanding your dude's going to be out of the pocket a lot, and you're going to have to let go when you lose leverage. So there were a couple plays I think he could have worked quicker. But the thing I was most impressed with was the athleticism. And I'm talking like pocket athleticism. You mentioned speed. I think the way he came out of his bootlegs was spectacular. Throwing on the run without losing any speed running, and also just the velocity on that was outstanding. I just thought his pocket athleticism, when you say he's going through reads, he's doing it like a CJ Stroud would. Like the thing that CJ Stroud was so good at last year was going 1 to 2 to 3, balanced and ready to throw. And he did that. That first third down conversion to DJ Moore, he cancels over the middle of the field, turns back to DJ Moore, zips it in there. Boy, was it really good. I mean, so I thought the pocket athleticism as well as the running, right, general scrambling, getting out on the bootleg, running athleticism, I thought stood out a ton for Caleb Williams as well. And I think all of the traits that people loved about Caleb Williams played, right, on an NFL field against, most starters for the Bills. He looks fast, arm looks good, throws well on the run. I made the point, this isn't exaggerating, he's already one of the best in the league throwing the ball on the run. I mean, it's a small part of the game, but he is so good at it. And I'm not saying that off of 2 throws. I'm saying that after seeing him at USC in Oklahoma.
Right.
And then he did it at the NFL level. He is one of the best in the league throwing the ball on the run. I liked that on only 10 dropbacks, the Bears had 3 bootlegs, right? So they have him under center, and they're using that athleticism to get him out there. They're using his ability to throw on the run. Again, 10 snaps, but 30% of those have him getting out of the pocket by design. So you're going to see they're going to use Caleb Williams to stress the defense. He read 2-man on 3rd and long, saw it pretty quickly, and took off for a first down because there was no spy, there was nobody keeping an eye on him. So he's already, I think, showing that with the arm, the athleticism, and the natural playmaking feel, that he's going to be a playmaker.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think that what we were kind of not at cross purposes. We disagreed slightly on one of those plays earlier where, like, the one where he took off from a clean pocket, he did, and that's a reasonable complaint or criticism. But I think he had read that quickly in multiple reads and then decided the option was to bail and not wait for something else. Like I forget what it was. They had a sail concept or something on the right side. He decided neither part of that was open, came across to a shallow drag across the middle, probably should have taken that, but decided didn't want it. And at that point, he's like, I'm getting out of here. I'm going to try and make something work. You're like, okay, so I'm okay with that. That's reading through a multiple part process and deciding he didn't like any of it and could try and make something else happen by himself. And again, so you might criticize and say, that's the stuff you really need to rein in. You're not going to be able to get away with playing that way. But he kind of can, right? Like, it's not like the Baker Mayfield or the Christian Ponder syndrome of thinking you're more athletic than you are and trying to always escape at the bad place and getting chased down from behind. Caleb Williams has the athleticism to still get away with that stuff at the NFL level. You just don't want him doing it all the time. You want him actually taking the plays there. So the coaching point on this play, I imagine, would be sitting him down and going, why didn't you take the shallow drag over the middle? That's the pass we want you to hit. Take 5 yards when there's 5 yards there. And I think that's probably an easy fix, right? And to just get him move the needle a little bit more in favor of that, get the ball in the hands of receivers. Don't you take that every single time. But the fact that he was able to look at the high-low, read that, turn it down because neither one of them was open, go to the third guy, analyze that, and okay, he maybe should have thrown that, and then bailed, I think is way more important than it was like one read, then bailed. The fact that he at least turned down number 2 before deciding to bounce, I think is a positive thing versus, like, there are other quarterbacks, without naming names, that would have looked at the high-low, turned it down, neither one's open, and then run. Caleb at least looked backside, decided, no, I don't like that, and then ran. So it's a step further.
And look, when we're looking at all these rookie quarterbacks, a lot of those plays, I just thought he could cancel reads a little bit quicker on a couple plays. That's all. And that may have been one of them. That often comes with time. Again, off the top of my head, I think guys like Jimmy Garoppolo and Carson Wentz did that early in their preseason careers, and they became really quick decision makers, especially Garoppolo. One last thing. I am anti-manufactured hype. Hate that. Manufactured hype.
Okay.
That is undeserved. So I want to see if you remember this. Andrew Luck's first career preseason pass. Do you happen to remember it?
I do not.
I remember it distinctly for 2 reasons. It was the day I met Neil Hornsby in person. So we went out, grabbed a burger, and we were watching Colts.
There's no way that Neil ate a burger.
Well, we went to a burger place where I had a burger.
Right.
I don't remember what he ate.
Gotcha.
But it was probably something that didn't have a bun.
Right.
And so we're watching the Colts and Andrew Luck's preseason debut. And his first pass, somebody fact-checked me on this, but at least I think it was his first pass. Screen pass for like an 80-yard touchdown.
Okay.
And the hype was like, oh, Andrew Luck, he's unbelievable. And I'm just like, I get so mad at that stuff. It's a screen pass.
Yeah.
It's a screen pass. Now, Caleb Williams' his highlight from the other day was a screen pass. However, this is one I think the hype is warranted. and justified. The way he threw the screen, because when you drop back on a screen, most screens you're going to retreat. You're trying to create space so that you can eventually dump it off. He sat, but the pocket got muddy so quickly.
Yeah.
So he sat where he was, maneuvered just a minute, and then the last piece of that, the thing you always say about Barry Sanders, when Barry Sanders like just never takes a direct hit, Caleb Williams, as he was throwing it, did his little hook shot deal and sidestepped a rusher and didn't really take a direct hit. There was so much just feel for the game and instincts in a simple screen pass, knowing that he was going to be in a muddy pocket against a blitz, and it's a 40-yard screen. But I think most quarterbacks bury it. I think it looks dead,
right,
and it's taken too long to develop for them. And Caleb Williams created space
or
to make
at least,
it happen.
Even if they don't bury it, I feel like they make the actual execution of what should be a relatively simple pass way harder by. So if other quarterbacks had felt the pocket collapsing, tried to bail deeper, buy themselves space, now you've got to execute this weird, lofted looping thing over a bunch of defensive linemen, putting the ball in the air for longer that lets them track down the running back, and maybe the running back gets tackled by a defensive tackle because, you have to lob this ball over the top of them and give them a chance to catch it, whereas Caleb's able to, find the gap and just hook it round somebody and get it into his hands quickly.
Anything else on Caleb Williams? I mean, I was very impressed. Again, to me, I want to see the traits carry over, and in 10 snaps, we saw all the NFL tools play at the NFL level against a starting NFL defense, and we saw that the Bears are probably going to put him out on the edge and let him play his game. We saw natural feel and instincts in the game, and we saw him make a couple really good throws and pick up first downs with his legs.
Yeah, and remember, you can see all of the preseason grades filtering through to PFF Plus. They're going up as the games go. They're, I think, coming through the next day over the preseason rather than in one block. So you can find Caleb Williams' grades along with everybody else's. The other thing I think that was interesting, or that I liked, and this is not a Caleb Williams thing necessarily as much as the offense, they had, 3 bootlegs, designed rollouts with Caleb Williams. I love that as a concept. You said before, right? You believe Caleb Williams is essentially one of the best on-the-move throwers in football already, having yet to take a regular season snap. Tapping into that can only be smart. Let's actually get him on the move by design and put him in this comfort zone rather than waiting for it to happen, organically when he bails from a pocket. I like that as a concept. Let's talk about it now. Velus Jones has become a running back. They've actually moved him into the backfield, and he's become a running back. This former
feels
wide
like
receiver.
The last-ditch effort to find value on his way out, perhaps.
But it looked like it worked. I mean, Velus Jones made some plays doing that. And in particular...
32-year-old running backs don't work.
Right.
How old is he now?
In particular, they were... Okay, it's not like he was playing with the first string necessarily and with Caleb Williams, but he was running the kind of outside zone toss plays that you would fake in order to set up the Caleb Williams bootleg plays, right? And actually, he did some really good work from that. Okay, it would have had even more if he hadn't fallen over on one of the carries, but he made a couple of really nice plays in that regard. Number one, I think that might actually have some success, putting Velus Jones in the backfield and letting him be a running back the way it did. Remember when Ty Montgomery was sort of rescued briefly by doing that. I think that could actually work for them. But number two, that combination, right? Let's run some of these outside zone stretch plays, and then let's have Caleb Williams bootlegging off the back of it and choosing between the high-low option or carrying it himself because the guy's maybe a better ball carrier than people gave him credit for. That as an offensive kind of synergy, I think, is really encouraging as well. Number one, you might have got this incredible talented quarterback. Number two, on just 10 dropbacks, there's evidence that the coaching staff has an understanding of how to tap into that best.
Yeah, they've got some weapons on that side of the ball, man. So I'm excited for the Bears, for Bears fans. It is the preseason. Nobody's declaring anything, but on 10 dropbacks, you saw Caleb Williams' skill set on display.